Welcome aboard the Alaskan Gypsy. I'm Scott Dickerson.
Hi, I'm Audrey Cotter.
And we're cruising right now. It's about 3 p.m., so that means it's about to get dark. We're in southeast Alaska. The boat we're on is a steel 80-foot triple-masted schooner, motor sailor. We haven't sailed her yet, but we're motored her. We even motored her right into the rocks. Not exactly. I'll take full responsibility. I ran the boat into what I believe at this point is a submerged day beacon. I think it was the frame of a day beacon that had been broken, and it was right at the surface of the water. I was navigating close to the shore, and there's a video about this. You can check it out. It's our last video that we published, and not surprisingly, it garnered quite a bit of curiosity and comments, conversation, and so we decided, instead of trying to respond to all the comments in the comments, why not just make a video and address them? Because I think they're all a lot of good questions in there, a lot of good points, a lot of good things to discuss, and it wasn't all just people telling me I'm a fool and made an obvious mistake. So I figured, okay, fair enough. Let's go ahead and address some of the good points brought up and good points of conversation. So we're running right now. Can't stop because it's going to get dark soon. There's a lot of logs in the water. Just been passing by logs constantly here. So we're going to go into Wrangell fairly soon. Wanted to get closer to Wrangell today. So we're making some headway, and we're going to do this comment thing right now.
Yeah.
So Audrey's going to read the comments, and I'm going to respond to them.
All right. The first one, this is not really about the boating incident, but it's from Bruce Razor. My family is full grown. Enjoy them while you can.
Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, it's been a big build up to having our kids come on board. They came for a visit over Christmas, and they're now back in their school life with their other parents. And we look forward to more extended adventures aboard the Gypsy as we continue to work out all the kinks and make it a more well-prepared, more ship-shape, and the season's going to be helpful. It's a hell of a winter we're having in Alaska.
Yeah.
All over Alaska, honestly, is having a pretty cold, windy, snowy winter. Not snow everywhere, but down here in southeast. So thanks, Bruce.
Yeah. William Hamill. I have a bad habit of skirting close to the shallows to cut corners or sometimes just to see the bottom. It is much better practice to keep on the deepest channel available at all times.
You're right, William. Me too. I thought about this. I knew this would be an obvious comment, is like, you shouldn't have been so close to the beach. I'm aware of that. I have been boating my entire life in Alaska, and I know what is the safest protocol, and I also am aware that you can adjust according to your sense of risk, the conditions, the environment, the timing, all these things. And yes, I was not making the safest choice. And like William is saying, a lot of us captains frequently make not the safest choice because we're comfortable with some amount of risk. And occasionally things don't work out great, and sometimes they do. But I've driven around unknown shores many, many years, and I have dinged a few props, and I've been ran into the bottom a few times on other boats, been involved in that sort of thing. I don't think I've ever ran a big boat aground. Still haven't at this point, really. But anyhow, yeah, I agree with William. It's a risk that we take, hopefully not too brazenly, but it's also just, it's really fun to be near the shore. This is part of the whole lifestyle, is being able to take your boat and explore. And it's a lot more interesting exploring a wilderness coastline when you're actually close enough to really see it, not just through binoculars. So agreed. Thanks for your comment.
Yeah. Joshua has been commenting a lot lately. Thanks for the engagement. Looks like you put some marks on your boat.
Amen. I'm very fortunate.
Yeah.
Let's get this off early. It was a mistake. I made a mistake. It was an error, a failure. I'm not pretending anything other than that. It was a mistake, but I don't mind sharing it with you all. Maybe you can learn from it. Maybe we can have some meaningful conversation. And I'm still driving close to the shore. Sorry. It's just part of the deal. I'm not going to give up boating because there's a risk. And I'm going to try not to make that mistake again. I'm being more cautious. I'm looking at the raster charts and the vector charts. I'm looking closer at both charts. Have I totally learned my lesson? Well, probably not, but maybe I'll spend my whole life learning my lesson. So anyhow, back to your comment, Joshua. Yeah, some scratches on the boat. Doesn't concern me. Of course, I love that perfect hull, but you know what? The anchor cable and the anchor were scratching the boat. And there's a lot of flaws. This isn't a show car. It's a heavy-duty boat. That's part of the appeal. I'll fix it when the opportunity is right.
All right. Rainmaker LM, you should call the Coast Guard and let them know to go check it. You can also go on NavyOnyx and let them know it's a hazard. Somebody else said, yes, this. Peter said that, and 5 people liked that comment.
I'm really new to NavyOnyx, and I don't have a NavyOnyx subscription. I don't know what going on NavyOnyx and telling them means. I'm certainly not going to do that on my touchscreen GPS thing, but maybe on their website. I don't have a user account or anything there. I don't really know what that means, and it's obvious that the raster charts have it correct. The NavyOnyx chart, I would say, doesn't have it right, but I don't know.
There's somebody else that has a really interesting NavyOnyx comment later that will address that deeper.
That's beautiful. So thanks for the comment. That's interesting. I didn't know that they took feedback. I remember seeing somewhere else somebody said that they don't really acknowledge or do anything about it. They probably log it. I don't know. The thing is, honestly, the Coast Guard needs to deal with it. Telling the Coast Guard about it, I assume, I'm virtually 100% sure they know that it's broken. It's really close to Wrangell. It's in a highly trafficked area. I would be amazed if they didn't know about it already, but that's probably a good suggestion. Will I do it? Probably not, honestly, but I don't think you're wrong.
Bill Lacey, can't trust those electronic charts. The old ships would careen the hull by tie-off to the mast and pull the ship down from an adjacent dock and clean and repair and apply copper sheets for anti-foul. If this is close to the waterline, you can do this at the dock in good weather. Look up the process of careening in the internet of the way that the tall ships did repairs when standard shipyards were not available. I also made a tabernacle for my mast so I could lower and raise my mast to save money. Consequently, I kept my mast in better repair because it was easy to raise and lower the mast. Can do it also at anchor. I saw a 60-footer and a 40-footer from Holland with the same system that they copied. He copied it for his boat.
Well, that's interesting. I know the masts have been taken off of this boat. It's not a chore I would look forward to doing. It's a lot of cables. I think there's a lot of cables I probably should be replacing. But just so you know, if you're new to our channel, there's years worth of projects that I am yet to do on this boat. And basically I just got out of the shipyard by the skin of my teeth, almost out of money and definitely out of enthusiasm for that work. And now we're out living aboard in the adventure, and this is what it's about. And there's a lot of things that just haven't been dealt with and won't get dealt with until the opportunity and the energy and the finances are in line for it. So I don't think I'll be taking my mast down anytime soon. I haven't even uncovered the sails, for goodness sakes. And if I do take the mast down, it's going to be something like there's a major problem. But I do think I need to look close at the hardware that the masts are supported with. So who knows, maybe taking them down is going to be a thing for me sooner than I'd like. And as far as the careening, I am familiar with that as an idea. I painted the above the waterline hull of our other steel boat that's kind of for sale, And I did that by hanging weights off the mast, swung off the overboard so that it would tip a little bit. So, and I thought about tying it up, but it was on anchor. It just didn't make sense. But familiar with the concept, and it probably would work in this instance. This is a pretty large boat to careen, and given the uncertain state of all the hardware, I'm probably going to opt to go on the grid or wait till I haul out to address this scratch. But who knows? Maybe I'll give it a try. Thanks for your comment. Interesting thought, and something I'll keep in mind.
The next one is from 123LSS123. Battle scars, battle scares. I mean, you've lived and learned. You're doing well. 4 likes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, interterrestrial. Our good friend Juno, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really dislike being on the water at night when something goes bump in the dark and I can feel it through my feet, butt, back, and shoulders. Suddenly, alarms sound and lights start flashing, but they are only in my head. Outside of my head is quiet, except for the lapping of waves, the sound of the wind, and the next bump.
The monster under the bed.
The darkness was never illuminated by flashing lights, only my imagination. Bump. One night it just turned out to be a pod of belugas. Another night, well, crud, I got wet that night. The boat survived with minor scrapes. Whew, battle scars. It sounds like a good plan for this summer. We love your comments, and we love your stories, and we love that you have lived a similar life. I love reading your stories. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope we can meet up sometime when we make it up to Juneau.
Yeah, we would love to meet up.
Not sure when that'll be, but we were going to head up there sooner than later, but the weather doesn't sound too good up there. I hope you're surviving okay.
Yeah. Dade says your first scratch out of the way.
Yep.
Jeffrey Simmons, the date and time settings on your plotter should be checked. That could be the cause for the faulty current predictions. I have not noticed current prediction errors in the Wrangell area.
I read that comment before, and I thought about that for a minute, and this whole Simrad navigation thing was, I could probably look and see when it was last updated, but I'm pretty sure it's up to date, and so I don't think that that is the issue. I think that they're just wrong. I could be wrong too, of course, but so version 18.3, loader 7.13. At some point, somebody who understood this stuff checked, or I checked, and I think I'm pretty current on this. This system is all pretty new. It's new within the last 10 years, so it's not like I got some ancient current predictions going on here, but you might be right.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting that he has not noticed current prediction errors in the Wrangell area. I'd love to hear more. Jeffrey,
Yeah.
Are you a frequent boater? Are you a fisherman? Are you recreational? Do you live in Wrangell? I think we're just trying to learn as much local knowledge as possible, so thank you for engaging. Scott Slinger, keep that smudge stick nearby for Mr. Lucky. Make way, Alaskan Gypsy coming through. Cheers.
Yeah. Move the day beacons out of the way. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
She'll keep the smudge stick handy, I'm sure.
Yeah, always.
Mainly the logs right now.
Yeah.
Just hang on, you might get a real live log hit here any moment. There's a lot of logs. Big tides, lots of logs in the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
But another snow squall coming too.
Yeah. Alaskan boat. And it's 3:13 and it's almost dark. All right, Vets RC. Brush it off. Like my dad used to say, you step off when you hear the crunch. LOL. Love your channel. If I ever get up there, I want an open invite to come aboard for a visit. You do ya?
Sounds like you got to bring your dad.
Yeah.
You step off when you hear the crunch. You get the non-internet nanny award.
Yes.
I think that's called rage baiting. I don't think I can say that, but I like it. It's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Hey, I mean, you're on the ground. What could go wrong? You can't sink at that point, right?
Yeah.
Not really true.
I'm just curious about RC. Where are you? If you ever get up to Alaska, is it like a lifelong dream? Jim Calver, thank you for replying to his comment and said, bring victuals and cold beverages. They might invite you on board.
We're mostly in the hot beverage program right now as another snow squall hits the boat from the south.
Yeah.
South winds are supposed to be warm, aren't they? And it's like, this is snow squall coming right at us.
Yeah.
We're about 25 minutes from an anchorage, hoping to stay for the night, so we'll see how that goes. But looks like it's going to be a pretty dark approach.
Yeah. Jean Francois Lemieux, I don't know if I said that right, but I hope you got a giggle out of me trying. What I loved was reading the waves and the sky. I really appreciate that feedback. We are just starting to share more of our lifestyle. YouTube thinks we're just a shipyard channel. You guys all know that we're not. We're into the lifestyle, the live aboard, and the projects, and all of the things that go along with that. So I do appreciate the feedback regarding all of the other things you guys enjoy. It's motivating for me making the videos. Pirate at 40. You, sir, are a silly captain. LOL. You are right in the middle of Bigfoot country. I am sure he was laughing at you. In fact, I know he was. A big old belly laugh. Said, looky what Sean did. Ha 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 ha.
How am I, Sean?
It's Scott. S.
Bigfoot.
That's
Interesting.
cool.
A lot of people into the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I have my own theory about Bigfoot. I think that Bigfoot is a spiritual entity or something that some people can see and some people can't. And it's not so much a whether the thing exists or not. I just think it's whether people, like it says in the Bible, have eyes to see and ears to hear. There's things from other dimensions that some people can see and some people can't. That's my experience of life, and that's what I think. So Bigfoot would fall in that camp for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Grammy? Love NavyOnyx sonar chart for the heavily cruised areas in southwestern BC. Probably not as good up in Alaska, though.
Yeah, I don't really know. It's one of those things, a lot of people are starting to use it more and more. Obviously, it's kind of what everybody's getting pushed to, I would say, as the raster charts phase out. So, yeah, Alaska is certainly kind of Wild West as far as the charts are concerned, but it's still pretty amazing. I'm continually impressed at how accurate the rocks are. We'll often find, tide drops and you see a rock, and sure enough, that rock was on the chart. I'm generally impressed, but obviously learning that you've got to look a little closer and don't just trust what you see at a glance. That's what my lesson was.
Yeah. All right, Guy DePorter. No excuse, mate. Monumental navigational error. I find the scratch is deep. Next log hits the perfect way to puncture the steel. Now, my wife says I'm pretty negative. My answer, I've been sailing for 60 years with no major incidents. At sea, always be attentive on anything. Good video. Next thing, new anchors. Can't believe you still sail those worthless Danforth. Cheers.
Oh, did the dog piss on your carpet today or what? It's okay. I hear what you're saying. I'm not on the internet claiming I didn't make an error. And I'm also not defending my error. I'm just sharing how it happened, because I've been boating my whole life and I've never sunk or drowned or died. So something has been working for me, and here's something that arguably didn't work. Something happened. Fortunately, we're still out here boating, still doing dangerous things on a daily basis. And yeah, it was a mistake. Apparently you consider yourself to be the judge of how severe it was, and that's fine. In my estimation, we're fortunate. It was a considerable mistake, and we're very fortunate. But count that up to good fortune, I guess. I don't know. And the Danforth anchors, I have some attraction to those anchors because they were handmade by the fellow who built this boat. He made those anchors and he put them on the boat, and there's just something sort of nostalgic about that. And they're 250-pound Danforths. They're no joke. They're quite substantial. I've never been a huge fan of Danforth anchors. I've also never used ones like this on a boat like this, so I'm not going to rush into spending my last dollars on new anchors right now, but I am kind of learning. These ones, it's hard to say if they hold well or not, honestly, because we're anchoring in different places all the time. I'm not super familiar with how much wind effect or current effect this boat is exposed to relative to my other experience on other boats. They're not worthless. I'm inclined to think that a 4th George style anchor is probably a better choice for around here, but find me a cheap one and I'll definitely switch over. But for the time being, I'm going to run these for a while until opportunity arises to replace. I kind of was thinking about replacing one, keep the other one. I have 2 anchors up there, so I could ease my way into it. I need to get the other anchor winch working. I think that Danforth, and there, I read a book about this. Somebody did some scientific testing of anchors holding power, and the Danforth is actually one of the strongest holding anchors in sand. I think it was sand is where it's the best. So it's not like they are terrible performers. They might just be a little bit more picky, and I think they're a little bit more vulnerable to damage. And so anyhow, your wife might be right, you might be negative, but whatever. You've survived 60 years, so
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, whatever works for you.
Including making negative comments on YouTube.
We wouldn't be putting ourselves out there if we weren't expecting some of that. Jay Lindsay, no, not my boat, the boss's boat. Live to tell the tale. Battle scars to prove it.
Yeah, who's the boss? Yeah, I'd rather run my own boat aground than someone else's, quite honestly.
Yeah, no kidding. Kiki Cuba, 3 thumbs up. Always sharing those thumbs up. We appreciate those. We see you. We see you consistently giving us the thumbs up.
Andre just gave you an attaboy. Took it to the bank.
I hope it's okay.
We got a serious snow whiteout thing. I can't see any land anymore.
Yeah.
We're going 8 knots, got a little current push here. So this is a good example. I should be going about 6.5 knots, but I'm going about 8, and the current chart's telling me I should have a 1/2 knot on the stern. I got some wind, but anyhow, it's just clear that there's way more current right here, right now, than the NavyOnyx is telling me. I don't care to try and figure out why. It's just that's my observation right now.
Okay, this is an interesting one from that Dave. That Dave, you comment a lot on our channels. We also really appreciate it, your support and all the things. This is a long one. You ready? You seem to be at odds of what tech and charts you need to follow. Just an observation.
Well, obviously that's true. That's why I made a video and explained that I'm changing my habits and patterns of using these charts. This new system is new to me, and right now, since I can't see where I'm going, I'm going to pull up the raster chart right this minute and take a look at it and make sure there's no hazards that I'm not seeing on that vector chart. So, agreed, I am at odds on the equipment somewhat, but I'm learning as I go and figuring out how to resolve that right now, live. So anyhow, carry on.
Yes, carry on. Okay, I was getting distracted while he was doing that. Okay, there should be a set running procedure as to what you navigate with, something that all crew understands and you know how to use. Think if you're unable to master your boat. Did the sonar pick up anything? That's if you run it. What does the Coast Guard use? Wouldn't they advise to use all the same updated charts and systems? Hey, if you are the old dog captain and only use charts that are on the chart table, presume that you have one, then that's just fine. But again, others on the boat need to know how to use them. One might consider that just because you've done this before, been there, done that, thinking is overshadowing the master's responsibility to plot and check a course, reviewing all possible hazards before you travel through them. Even old dogs need to upskill or turn everything off and navigate by paper charts only. Your call, isn't it? I'm not sure if you admit that it was a mistake. We all learn from them, eh? That's spicy.
Seems like he's got an axe to grind.
Yeah, what's the deal? The headless chooks that were in command didn't know how to turn off the autopilot. Oh, sorry. Did you ever see the news about the New Zealand Navy boat that sunk in Samoa? The headless chooks that were in command didn't know how to turn off the autopilot. And an inter-island ferry in New Zealand also ran aground because they also couldn't or didn't know that the autopilot was engaged and had difficulty turning it off. Well, they're dumb, but anyhow, sorry.
Well, they just didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't know.
Luckily, our autopilot's not working, so we're fine.
Yeah, we're definitely not dumb.
Well, this person obviously thinks we are.
I know.
I don't know. That seems like a kind of shame on you comment. Like, I've already explained this whole situation. Is there anything to take away from that? Make sure the crew also knows how to run the boat.
Yeah, that's
sure,
important.
fair enough. We're working there, but also you got to understand, like, we're just getting started on this boat. I have a lot of boating experience, but I'm new to this boat and new to this area, and not espousing myself to be an expert on either of those topics. And if you don't like what you're seeing and if it's frustrating you, move along. You can watch other videos. But whatever. Next.
Okay. I'm glad everything is okay. Just a scratch you'll fix. It's no big deal. Just so glad everything is okay. Terry, we feel you. Thank you.
Yeah, us too, Terry. We're fortunate.
Yeah. Really.
Lucky to have learned a lesson with minimal damage.
Absolutely. Must be full. I learned my costly lesson years ago. Never go outside the day markers unless you really have the local knowledge to navigate safely. Guess you just learned that too.
Yeah, the day marker wasn't there, and I didn't register that it was supposed to be there. That's kind of the problem.
Yeah, we ran into it.
Well, we ran into the remains of it, I believe. Yeah. But anyhow, yeah, I definitely take some risks driving the boat. That's part of the deal. I would not be out here right now driving in a snowstorm as it's getting dark unless I was willing to live in some risk. So it's just part of the package, and I'm comfortable with it, but also cautious in my own way. But everybody's measure of risk is different, so
yeah,
each their own.
William Gray, need to stay in deeper water. Eric Gretland.
Needed to stay in deeper water, but got to go in shallow water to anchor up.
Eric Gretland, might be nice to seal that scratch.
Yeah, it'd be nice, and I will at some point. But it's winter time, it's cold, it's freezing, days are very short, and I don't think it's worth making a big deal out of trying to seal that scratch against such harsh weather and conditions. So
Jan says NavyOnyx shows an obstruction just northwest of the day beacon location. Says obstruction is always submerged.
Northwest. I think I might have seen that too, but I don't know. You might be looking at a different chart. Maybe my NavyOnyx is out of date. I don't know. I didn't make that video to show, like, I was to show what the experience was more than like prove something about NavyOnyx exactly. It was my learning experience, what I was referencing when the accident happened. And so if there's a newer chart that shows it different, cool, maybe I'll get it at some point. But for the time being, I'm just going to be more cautious, cross-reference before I go near shore in an area that has any cause for suspicion whatsoever. So, and continue to come face to face with risk. That's just part of the deal. So
Painful 13, thanks for all your fun comments. Always enjoy them. Wow, that must have been a 10 on sphincter factor scale.
I think I already replied to that one.
Glad you and the gypsy are okay. Yeah, you did. Thanks. Honestly, this is from Scott. Thanks. Honestly, a little surreal feeling like all mishaps or near mishaps. But yes, unsettling, no doubt. I feel very, very fortunate to have such a close call with such minimal cosmetic punishment.
Yeah.
Okay. Bob Jacobs, this is interesting. A thermal camera in your mast will show the ice. Don't know how much it would cost you, though.
Yeah, we're actually thinking about that. I think I know these things have gotten so much cheaper because there's inexpensive drones that have thermal cameras on them. And I think that I'm going to look into mounting some sort of camera either on the mast or possibly on the bowsprit somewhere that I can watch in the wheelhouse, because the visibility direct ahead on this boat is terrible.
Yeah, it's really bad.
And that there's so many logs, and then with the ice, I don't feel it's a huge safety risk, though it is somewhat of a safety risk. It's also just a really significant annoyance, not being able to see. So obviously it'd be a maintenance headache, and like it's snowing now, so does the thing get wet? Do I need to have something with a wiper, a spinner? I don't know. It's complicated, and it'll be a nuisance running cable, all those things, but I think it's something that's definitely worth looking into. So if anybody has any experience with, basically I need like a backup camera for a boat, essentially, but I'd like it to be pretty durable, and I'd probably put it on a fairly large screen so I don't have to be squinting and staring at a little thing. I want it to actually function, so it's probably going to be pretty good resolution so that I could navigate icy or loggy areas. If I do it, I want it to really, really work. So any experience with a really good system in that regard, I'd be interested in learning about.
Yeah. Okay, David Cox, your comment wins the award for the most comments within the comment. Thank you for the engagement. Very interesting. I watched a video last night about a sailboat in the South Pacific that almost hit a reef. They were using NavyOnyx. The hazard was only visible if you zoomed in a lot. Another boat hit the same reef and was lost. The crew told NavyOnyx about it. They did nothing about it. Come crime with me. Ooh, I watched the same video. Gert Borman. Same thing happened to Wouter Verbrack, fellow countryman of mine, who did not zoom in enough. Therefore, the boat, Vestas, in the Ocean Race 2014, landed on a reef in the Indian Ocean. That reef had been on paper charts for centuries. I never sail without updated paper charts. Updated paper charts. That's funny, says Montana Dan. Montana Dan, we might know you. That might be. Anyway, see you in a fishing launch? We know a Dan from Montana. Okay. Okay, Montana Dan, better than anything else. Paper maps have not been updated for so many years, says Montana Dan, and the maps on NavyOnyx and all the other chart plotters are the government maps and only available electronically. David Cox says, saw the video about that. What a disaster.
Oh, that's interesting. Sounds like other people having some navigational issues with, I mean, fair to say, the use of NavyOnyx. And I honestly think that's part of the whole risk with these raster charts. Is I understand raster and vector, and I know why they do vector. It saves a huge amount of data. They can update it. There's a lot of reasons to use vector, I understand. But it does introduce a lot of new variables to how the charts are used, and I think that those people's experience is just exactly it. They're trying to interpret the known data and display it in a way. I'm sure they're trying to do it in the absolute best way as possible, but it does just create, when here's a paper chart, there's no zooming in or out on the paper chart per se, though you can on a device, but what you see is there depending on your eyesight and the display. But the raster vector charts, they change what they show you based on the zoom level, and so yeah, that creates a real opportunity for not seeing things that are there.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting.
Jim Calver, thank you so much for all your consistent comments and engagement. I replied to the part that made sense to me. I bet you won't be able to guess what part that is, but there's more here, so I'm going to go ahead and read the comment. What a beauty. Now at anchor. Yes, the boat, but Audrey too. And hey, I trained for Reiki as well, but just for my wife and I. Maybe Audrey could channel Reiki through the boat while meditating or yoga, etc. Never know what helps. Glad your new prop came out of this scrape unscathed. I'd suggest you put digital CT sensors on the DC power wires feeding all the compartment sump pumps. And then the switched power from the CTs back to the helm and displayed as an alarm board. CT is a current transformer. In this case, that switches in when the wire it is clamped onto passes electrical current. This will tell you if one or more compartments are pumping without even lifting floorboards or stressing about water ingress if not required.
Go ahead if you want to say anything first.
Oh, thank you. That's really cool. I responded to that. I very much appreciate it. Lovely that you and your wife can share the Reiki together. That's really special. And I just always appreciate the energetic connection. So for any of you out there in that space and realm, always open to chat.
And I'll address the technical electrical stuff. This is Jim. There's definitely, I need to get the bilge pumps and the alarms. I want to get a raw water flow alarm set up on the main engine and probably on the generator, and the water alarms for the bilges. There's definitely a lot of stuff like that. I know that they make switches, or there's ready-made alarms for what you're talking about. I've been around them. I think the boat might have them, but quite honestly, I'm not positive if they're working, and that's why I don't just trust them right now. But yeah, hear what you're saying, and I agree. I definitely want to get each bilge compartment set up with some sort of water level alarm. And I know I got at least one float switch that needs either replaced or repaired. Have a new one sitting there ready to go. Certainly some work to do in that department. But no matter what, nothing beats a visual inspection when I'm really concerned about it. So, thanks for your comment, Jim.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. David Cox, I wonder if the rock would show up on NavyOnyx if you zoomed in.
It didn't seem like it did. I think they basically said there's a day beacon on there for a rock. That was their approach to that rock. Whether someone decided that or it's just part of the formula, how they make their charts, I don't know. But I zoomed in as far as I could, and maybe I don't have, maybe there's a newer chart, maybe there's a higher resolution chart. I kind of doubt it. But I showed it zoomed all the way in it, and I was zoomed way in, and it didn't show the rock there. It showed the day beacon sign, not even in the same spot as where it's supposed to be exactly. But anyhow, there's a clear discrepancy between the raster charts and the vector chart. That much, the versions that I have, there's no question they're different. Obviously, there's other variables that I'm not able to test and compare right now.
Okay, you ready for this one? It's a short novel.
Is it
Rob M.
Do you want to take all the time to read it on, or?
I think I'm gonna read it.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of good stuff in here.
Okay.
I think. I remember reading it and thinking, wow, this is really thoughtful.
Okay.
I think. Unlucky strike, and one I've done a near carbon copy of, but in a 23-foot, one design open keel boat. In our case, the cast steel keel in a fin is a fin about 4 feet long, 3 feet 6 inches top to bottom, with a 5 foot long and roughly 1 inch diameter flattened torpedo-shaped bulb at the bottom. We were racing and lying second, about 30 yards behind the leader, and were gradually making ground by hugging just a little closer to the shore, and so stayed a little more out of the tidal flow against us.
What's this person's name?
Rob M.
Watch out, Rob. Internet Nanny's gonna get you, boy.
No, this is a fun story. The land is steep sloping down on the water, and I assumed that if I stayed the same distance away from the shore, we'd be fine, which we were until we reached the headland, where I discovered that there was, in fact, a shallow rock spine projecting out about 150 yards, which we hit at full chat. Stopped nearly dead and about 6 inches. Unfortunately, both of the crew, well leaned out on tow straps, kept going. With their weight gone off the windward side and both sails cleated hard in, she heeled hard enough to put the leeward gunwale under, and that was enough for the bulb to clear the spine, scraping and bumping across it. I was quite literally like hitting a wall, and I only didn't follow the crew because I had just leaned in to see forward past the crew's head a little better, so I landed in the boat, still holding onto the tiller extension. I was not popular with the crew that day. Both had just said a couple of times that they'd never been along the shoreline so close, and that they were getting nervous. It cost us the race, me a couple of days and a chunk of money on materials to fare and refinish the bulb back to perfect, and also me a significant chunk of change at the club bar to restore the crew's morale. I'm pretty sure you know this anyway, but it bears repeating for the information of anyone starting out with the boat. The shape and character of the visible land along the shoreline doesn't just cease where it disappears beneath the water. If there's a headland or a promontory point sticking out from the general shoreline, it is usually there because the rock is harder than the stuff that used to surround it. So it hasn't eroded as rapidly through the action of glacial erosion during the Ice Age, or through the action of water flow since then. The upshot of which is that there's often a spine of harder rock projecting out underwater from the headland, which may or may not be jagged and may or may not present areas too shallow for passage depending upon the state of tide, etc. In the absence of detailed local knowledge, a general rule of thumb is to give any headland feature at least 3 times the berth compared what is okay along the general shoreline, and adding a good bit for the rule is rarely a mistake. It holds especially true when there's a headland with an island or a spike offshore from it. There's often a conjoining spine between the two features. I really hope you don't think I'm an internet nanny. Just another sailor who's discovered the same thing as you by my own mistake and was lucky enough to not bust the keel off the boat and sink her. I'd hate for that to happen to anyone else for the lack of a bit of hard-won knowledge. Those shots of Gypsy outlined against the light green misty background are stunning. She looks fantastic, well worth printing a frame from that segment to hang on the wall. So glad to hear that the kids had a fun time aboard for Christmas, and equally glad they're back north safe and sound. Looking forward to your future adventures and wishing you both a wonderful new year. Cheers, Rob. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
No, hi Rob, thanks for sharing your story. That all makes sense to me, and I agree with what you're saying. Thanks for sharing your experience, and yeah, I mean,
pretty awesome.
There it is.
Yeah, pretty cool. Thank you so much.
We got a heck of a dark gray squall coming. We're getting really close. We're less than half a mile from this potential anchorage. It's not looking that great to me. It's looking calm in there, but I don't know. It's kind of a mixed bag on the charts. I don't know if I really like this spot. And we do have some wind moving around. It is getting dark. I've got to decide whether I camp here for the night or try and go further. But are we getting near the end?
Oh no. We're gonna, probably 20 more minutes, so.
Wow. Okay, we're already into this, probably nearing an hour.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good video. Hope you're enjoying it. Glad that you're safe and sound. Thanks, Carl. Slowly sailing. So basically you hit a submerged road sign. Ouch. If that happened to my boat with only 1.5 inches of cedar planking on the hull, it would have been different, lol. She's lighter and springier, but who knows? Maybe just a gouging along a plank. Or maybe a hole. I have 2 good bilge pumps and 2 manual backups, but yeah, holes in the boat are bad. Quick and dirty repairs are pretty easy with wood, but for sure, steel is hard to beat for peace of mind. You responded correctly, I think, and it will probably keep until warmer weather or next planned haul out.
I don't like this spot. It's windy here, a little bit of swell rolling, and it's not only windy, it's also whiteout squall, and I think we're going to keep going for more known spots. But we're going to get in there in the total dark, but I think I'd rather go for the total dark than anchor up blind in a place I've never been. So
okay,
we're going to continue on the journey here. Kind of wanted to stay here, but it's not looking very inviting with these squalls pushing through. And I know it's not ideal. It's a spot that I'd rather be able to see what I was doing, because it's not an obvious win-win location for bottom contour and shelter at once. So I'm going to turn away from this zone and run for probably another 45 minutes, well into the dark, but a spot that's more known.
Okay. Fingers crossed. Haven't seen the big logs in a little while. All right, Charlie Ostler. Such a cool boat. Have you traveled under sail with her yet? No.
We've traveled in some strong winds, but not with the sails up.
Yeah. David, you can mark the hazard on the NavyOnyx so others can avoid it.
Someone else said that. I don't know anything about that, but sounds interesting.
Scannadays. Check this out. What happened to you? Have you ever followed the story on the Fitzgerald? The final report is almost exactly like yours. Bad charts. The Fitzgerald went close to the shore during the storm, where the map said it was okay. What it said, what they found. The water was so extremely rough. The ship and ripped a hole in the bottom of the ship where they couldn't see the damage. It took 4 hours for the ship to fill up with enough water to sink her. My opinion about it all. With the technology today, there's no reason for any maps to be off or not to have the information needed for safe navigation on any water source. All of it should be perfectly mapped out. I'm happy you all just got scratches. Take care. Just really.
I kind of agree. I don't think there's really a good excuse for it either, but can't blame it all on the charts, because I have other charts available to me that do show the hazard clearly. And if I studied it enough, I wouldn't have driven through there because of the day beacon on a rock. The words should have been enough, but I wasn't looking that close at the time. So agreed, but also no real great excuse for that either. So
yeah. Stu Sailor, we've had the same problem switching from raster charts to vector charts. We almost ran into a tall metal day marker in the fog offshore of Rhode Island. We were mad at NavyOnyx. How come the chart didn't mention this beacon? Then novices with vectors, we started fooling with the system and realized somewhere in the documentation manual, and must say you need to be zooming in and out all the time to see the hazards and obstructions that do not show when zoomed out. Lesson learned, get used to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for sharing your experience. It kind of does. They're trying to show everything in one chart, right? So the zoom becomes the same as changing charts. With our paper charts, we're used to looking at one chart. We need more detail, we look at another chart, and we're accustomed with that. With these things, it's not quite like that. Your zoom level becomes the chart change.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I need to turn offshore a little bit more here, or we might have a real live reenactment.
Okay, David Nicola. Now you know. Don't piss off the X with quotes in the letter X. LOL. Terry Bartley. There are two kinds of boat operators: those that have run aground and those that will run aground sometime in the future. Just ask Joseph Hazelwood. Hope that you're and the boat are okay.
Thank you.
Mark L 1604. Lucky no propeller damage with such a large boat.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I was definitely cringing, waiting to hear the propeller hit whatever it was, but we were fortunate. And when I dove, I looked at the propeller, and there was no noticeable scratch or damage.
Excursions close to shore might require selective choice. From your discussion, you said it was hard to see. If you have a camera forward, that may help, or a physical short walk. Still, it's all in the experience. Planning food, work, and with the Gypsy at anchor probably will be your biggest task. Developing a liking for... I don't know what that food is again. Muesli?
Muesli?
Yeah, muesli. I don't know about muesli.
She's from America. She don't know about muesli.
And jog hurt. Hog hurt? Is that a meat?
Muesli with probably yogurt.
Oh, okay, yeah, yogurt. Big moves will require plenty of discussion. Thanks, Mark.
Mark, I grew up with my mom made homemade muesli. We called it muesli. She's from New Zealand, and we made our own yogurt from non-fat powdered milk. So we're probably brothers in some way there.
Ashent Mariner. Oh, what do we got?
Coming up to 57 feet.
4, 3, 2.
The spot is supposed to be 24 feet deep at low tide, according to both charts, and just dropped off. So I think we're over the shallow spot.
Okay.
Look, we got lucky again. Woo!
Ashent Mariner. Call the Coast Guard and tell them they keyed your Dragon Ducky and let them pick the repayment. I suggest being able to dive and weld on your Dragon boat, Captain. Doubting tallness.
Diving and welding. No welding required on this one, but having underwater welding equipment would be pretty cool. I've never really looked into that.
Stan, close call. Glad everyone is okay. Free P 9X2M. I'm a commercial fisherman in Sitka. When I'm driving my boat, I always put a shallow alarm on my sounder for situations like this.
Yeah, you probably have a sounder that's not from the 90s too, is my guess. But that's kind of, we're sort of in the old ages of sounding equipment right now, but looking to update, and I think we will update before long. But this sounder is so, it can't keep track of the bottom to save its soul, so it's literally not going to save itself, and it's going to get taken off the boat, I think. But I thought about that. Audrey told me about your comment, and I thought that would be pretty slick. But for example, right now it's telling me it's 20 feet deep, 45 feet deep, but it's just 85 feet deep, 16 feet deep. It's just lost. It's getting some, whatever, misinformation from the current or seaweed or what. I have no idea, but it can't find the bottom. And if it was constantly alarming to me, it often says 6 feet deep when we're in hundreds of feet. So that sounds like a great idea. And I definitely want to look into that when I have a modernized sounder. Right now it tells me 12 feet. I can't find anything. So anyhow, thanks for your comment. That sounds great. Something I'm definitely look forward to having.
Douglas Thompson. I believe you stated that you use inorganic zinc in your paint schedule.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if it migrates and heals that scratch.
I would be amazed. I've heard of such things, but it's a pretty wide scratch, but man, I'd love to see that. That'd be incredible.
Your surface paint won't be there, but the zinc will prevent any rust.
That'd be amazing.
Douglas Thompson. You are in Wrangell, so they may well have predicted a current that was there but covered by the river surface current. A lot of water comes down the Stikine. It can blunt and divert the normal currents as well.
Yeah, I've been in areas that I don't think were impacted by the Stikine, but obviously they're always impacted by wind, weather fronts, the rivers. There's so many influences. I'm not surprised that the current predictions are wrong. I just am surprised that they even predict them when my experience has been that they're so wrong. That's mainly my comment, is sort of surprised at just how unbelievably unreliable they are in my limited experience so far.
Yes. We have 7 more comments. Howard Barker, read your charts. Pretty obvious you were cutting corners. You were a novice, but did not spell novice correctly. I just have to say that. N-O-V-I-S.
Oh, so we got the over here. We got the spelling cop.
I mean, if you're gonna call him a novice, at least spell it right. Sorry, just saying.
Do I need to say anything, or is she going for blood enough on this?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, I was cutting the corners. I think we've already covered this. It's a risky thing, and everybody gets to decide the amount of risk they live with in their life. And obviously, taken to one extreme, you should never be out on your boat in winter in a boat that you're not familiar with yet. We're driving around in the dark in a snow squall. Yeah, this is dangerous as well. And driving close to the shore is dangerous. I agree. Did I take unnecessary risk? Like, perhaps the proof is that yes, indeed I did in that instance. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Every person gets to decide their own risk tolerance and how they make decisions accordingly. And I don't usually go around telling people what they should and should not do. Some people do. That's your choice.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Gert Borman, lesson learned. Problem with most digital maps is what you see at a certain level of zoom, and of course, is it updated? Always check your planned route on any up-to-date paper charts. Let's take a step further. If you allow weather forecasts like windy and predict wind can also not be trusted. Model-based. Trust your gut or local knowledge from older people.
Yeah, thanks for your comment. I agree with everything you're saying, and obviously, this is a rocky place. I mean, we're in a very rocky zone, and there's cause for concern just about everywhere. And I've increased my level of caution in response to this event for sure.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. Murat, I have used NavyOnyx in the past 5 years via an Android phone and was very happy with accuracy until they jacked on the price. And then it says enable sonar chart in all caps and shallow shading. Had to cancel my subscription due to price. Garmin has destroyed the free NavyOnyx web app. If I was sailing full time, I would use this product again right from my cell phone.
Yeah. I think I was trying to figure out that shading thing. I think I have the shading on, and it did show shallow water there. I mean, but I've seen on a Garmin GPS relief shading, I think it was called. It was really incredible. Amazing. I don't think that this system I have right now has that. Maybe it's available. I honestly don't know. I think it probably is because I think that's a NavyOnyx product and I'm using NavyOnyx. But I literally just got this thing from a guy in a box and I hooked a power cord up to it and it turned on and it works. And I thought that's amazing. But I have a lot to learn about this device and what it can and cannot do and what, there's just so much to learn. So thanks for your comment. I'm going to look into this relief shading and contour shading thing a bit more, obviously. But for right now, my approach is to reference the raster charts like I've been doing here in the last hour while we've been talking as I'm navigating near shore, looking for a place to anchor in a snow squall as it's getting dark. So,
yeah. Kristen Dreyer, been there. There's a nav can there for a reason. Might want to figure out why it's there. But not with the bottom of your boat. Or you might leave a larger marker for the next boater.
You're kind of being a jack, whatever, but you're not wrong. So, yeah, obviously there was a marker there. Obviously there's not anymore. I'm not the one that took it out. I'm just the hapless victim who ended up either running into it again or maybe it was ice, but yep.
Anyway, I learned from the adventure sailor Skip Novak. This is from Big Sky Guy 1611. To keep foam Nerf footballs handy in your boat because they work great to plug hole breaches and through holes. Glad everyone's okay.
Yeah, I read that comment and I was wondering, obviously it would be great to put a foam Nerf football on the outside of a hole, but I'm guessing you must mean like pound it in so that it would stay in so the water pressure doesn't just blast it out. I have wooden plugs and I have a foam cone that's probably a $75 Nerf football with the marine label on it, but That's very interesting. I haven't seen Nerf footballs for sale lately, but probably just mean any foam football. That makes sense. There's something like that on the boat right now, and having another one or two sounds like a pretty decent idea. I have a whole giant bag full of rags, which could also serve some purpose in that similar type of application, and I'm familiar with the idea of cramming something into a leak if you get there in time, obviously.
Brian Polster. I'm a landlubber. That being said, does your depth finder have an alarm you can set? Also, I enjoyed the waterfall footage very much, and I'm hoping to see more hunting videos. Yay!
Thank you. I look at my depth finder, and it does have a thing called an alarm. But like I said, this depth finder was new in 1992 probably. It's an interphase twin scope forward-looking sonar depth finder, and it was never very good to start with, and I don't think its shallow alarm would offer consistent results enough to be of value to me right now, but something I'm going to look into when I upgrade.
Okay. We got 2 new comments just while we've been doing this. Rick.
This could be bad. We may never finish.
No, we're almost done. It is definitely not a reduction in manhood to use multiple charts.
Thanks. No, I mean, obviously, I'm an arrogant a-hole if I'm on the internet telling you I ran into the beach, and I'm so proud and full of myself that I don't even mind talking about it. I'm joking, but yeah, I'm not really worried about what all you yahoos out there think of me, but I just want your viewership so I can get money from YouTube and support my crazy lifestyle. Also joking, but not entirely. No, I agree. Some people are really into safety. I'm not super into safety stuff, but I am in my own way. Everybody's different. I'm using 2 charts. I've used 2 charts a bunch since we've been doing this video right now, and I'm going to do it again right now. And that's just my habit for now. It's kind of working for me, and that's what I'll continue to do until further.
Okay. Novice. No disrespect intended, but you need better maps. Your maps are shit. They're not very accurate. They are misleading and not supporting your mission.
Oh, well, I kind of agree. But I do have the raster charts on the devices, and I am just tuning things up. I haven't even mounted the GPS unit yet. It's literally sitting on the dash. You know, we are out here doing sea trials right now, and we just had quite the little trial event there.
Yeah, sure did. Thank you guys for not only tuning in, but I mean for the thoughtful suggestions, the well wishes, the care. It positively impacts my experience out here.
Now it's dark. Look at our faces are lit up from the instruments that I'm gonna have to turn down here in a second, but I've been needed to go pee over the side of the boat for the last hour, so we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, how do you want to wrap it up?
If you stay tuned, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and thanks for your comments. Let us know what you think of this format of responding to comments with a video. Maybe it's something we'll do more of. If you were engaged in this conversation already, let us know if you thought it was interesting and helpful, or if you're new to this whole video conversation, I'm curious to hear your thoughts about this format of doing a Q&A style video. We could do it live, but then we may never finish. So anyhow, thanks for joining us. Thanks for your attention and engagement. Hope you enjoyed this video, and look forward to your comments in the future. And I'll keep running around in snowstorms at dark to make more adventures to share.
Yeah, and I'm going to go make popcorn to properly enjoy the adventures.
Bonjour, Francois.
Bye.